Hey folks, Pat here from DNS. This Madison area fishing report is current as of March 10th. Before we get started, just want to plug a couple of quick things here. Southern Wisconsin Trout Unlimited's Spring Fair fundraiser is coming up. Full disclosure, I sit on the board of this group, but just wanted to plug it. It's not until April 22nd, but early bird pricing on some of the ticket packages for the bucket raffles ends after next weekend. So if you want to get the best deals on tickets for that, you can go to the SWTU website and buy tickets for the great event that supports a group that does great work for trout and conservation in the area. So give that a look if you're interested. Again, the Madison Parks is having a hiring fair right next door here at the Warner Park Rec Center, 4 to 7 tonight. At least I'm pretty sure it's still going on. We got a bunch of snow, so I guess it could be canceled. But anyway, if you know somebody, young person maybe that's looking for a job, summer job, or maybe you're looking for a job yourself, working for parks, it's a great group of folks, and you get to work outside, so it could be worse. Anyway, give that a look. That's tonight at the Warner Park Rec Center, 4 to 7. Next weekend we have the Wisconsin Muskie Expo up in Wausau. So if you're into muskies and looking to go learn more about all that, go give that a look up there in Wausau. Otherwise, the weekend after that, the Capital City chapter of Muskies Inc. is hosting their Capital City Muskie School at Wanakee High School. That's March 25th, so 2 weekends from now. They got a whole bunch of classes, experts coming in to talk about stuff, lunch, bucket raffles, all kinds of stuff. So it's a great event, benefiting a great group, so go give that a look if you're into muskies. Also, I announced last night, but we have the Spring Seminar series lineup for here at the shop. We're doing another round of these, just like in the winter. These will be Thursdays at 7 p.m., the 3 weeks leading up to opening day. These are free and got a great lineup of speakers. Austin Rogotsky, local guide here, is going to be speaking on April 20th about walleyes on hair. So that'll be hair jigs for walleyes and walleye flies, which are very popular. And a lot of people are getting into using those. So I'm sure that'll be a well-attended event. Got Ron Bearfield, April 27th. Ron's a longtime guide. And nobody knows the Wisconsin River better than Ron. He's going to be talking about different tactics he uses that might be, a little unique, a little outside the box to put fish in the boat. He's a very popular guide, so that should also be well attended. And then Noah Humfeld on May 4th is going to be doing his presentation on opening day strategies. He did this topic last year, and it was very well attended, very well received. And so he'll be talking about tips and tricks for navigating opening day, but also a lot of great tips for the rest of the season. So Noah's, of course, a great speaker, and looking forward to that. Speaking of walleye flies, we do have a restock of walleye flies here in the shop. A couple of little wells here getting already a little bit low, but a good selection of walleye flies, and I'll be restocking those as I can. But just wanted to let folks know that they're in and going fast. So otherwise, I guess we'll go on to the report. This last week was warm. The ice really took a hit. We had temps in the 40s and sun, and on top of some already sketchy ice, we had some folks go through up on Cherokee who were, fishing the ice early in the morning, and things seemed fine, but it started to deteriorate pretty quick. Folks started falling through about noon. I think I heard 8 folks up there went through in total, but, it's just shallow water up there, and they, really didn't no worse for the wear, I guess we'll say, and maybe lost a cell phone or two, but thankfully everybody made it out okay. But we've got a bunch of snow come down last night, probably 6 inches on the ground right now at least. Still snowing a little bit here, and but we got temps in the mid 30s to low 40s this next week, so the snow shouldn't stick around long, and it should be open water here before we know it. And I guess speaking of that, I'm certainly no official on the matter, but I'm going to say that ice fishing in the Madison area is pretty much done here now. I mentioned the folks that went through up on Cherokee, and with safe ice pretty much gone, it's start to look forward to open water. There are plenty of areas that are already accessible by boat, and we'll touch on that a little bit. Of course, game fish season is closed right now, but there's still plenty of action for panfish and catfish, and early catch and release bass is another option too. Shallow areas around the chain with dark bottoms are going to be the first to warm up and hold fish, and areas with current are also a pretty safe bet this time of year. Um, Folks are also fishing a lot of the area rivers. I've heard about some walleye action both on the Wisconsin and Rock rivers, but we'll touch on that too. So, like I said, Cherokee doesn't even have ice anymore. The boat launch down here is open, and the water up here is open. Like I said, dark, shallow areas, which Cherokee would qualify as, are going to warm up a little sooner. So there are already crappies and bluegills moving in there, but should have more of them moving in any time now. Haven't heard of anything coming out of the 113 bridge area, but should be stacked with walleyes and crappies here in a very little bit. There have been a bunch of catfish up here too. I had a guy come in that said he dropped his AquaView camera off one of these bridges up here and saw a bunch of catfish stacked down there, but I haven't heard if they're exactly catching anything over there just yet. But soon it will be stacked with fish, I promise you that. Out on Lake Mendota, not a lot to report. The lake's covered in ice, very unsafe ice. So, yeah, I guess we can just kind of move on. I guess I did hear, I did see some folks casting off the Tenney breakwall. A lot of this water down here is open. So if you want to stretch the old casting arm, that's be an opportunity here. The Yahara River, of course, is open. Big chunk of water out here is open. There was someone floating around down there fishing from a kayak the other day. So folks got the itch and are ready to get out, getting antsy to get out. So otherwise, Lake Monona also has ice on it, but none of that ice is safe. Over to Brittingham Bay and the Triangles, Monona Bay, I'm sorry, and the Triangles. Brittingham Park area is all wide open. The Triangles are also open. There are crappies and bluegills in there. Those crappies crappie fishing in there should get better and better as we move, through May here. They should stick around. Don't know much about what's going on over to Lake Wingra. I think they closed the dam over here because of the muskies. Will start swimming up there pretty soon, but not a lot of fishing going on over that way. Down here to I had been calling this Wickawak Bay, as it says here on the map, or how I'd pronounce it. I was corrected recently. That's actually pronounced Weechawuk Bay. So now you know. Anyway, Weechawuk, formerly known as Squaw Bay, is wide open. So if you want to launch a boat down here, a canoe or something, you can get in there and fish. It sounds like that should be warming up pretty quickly too, with it being open water and temps rising, and I believe it's a pretty dark bottom in there too. Up over to Upper Mud, I did hear that the launch here at Lattice Park is open, and folks have been launching boats out of there and can get up the river into Weechawuk Bay or out here to Upper Mud. So, and of course the dredge hole and all of Upper Mud, shallow area, warms up real quick. Usually a great spot for early season panfish. Down on Wabisa, I imagine a bunch of this water up here on the north side is open, but the rest of it probably still has very sketchy, unsafe ice. So don't really know much about what's going on there. I suppose the Babcock Lagoon in this area is about to be open or is open. The dam there might be holding some fish. Down to Lake Kegonsa, you also likely have a bunch of open water down here. I haven't been down there or heard anything, but around Fish Camp, you can launch out of there and probably float around. Bound to be some fish in that shallow water stacking up there, enjoying hopefully some warmer water. And but yeah, otherwise I guess that's really it for the Madison chain. Down on Lake Koshkonong, I have heard about some fish, good action on some pike down here in Indian Ford, and a few walleye coming out of that area. Lake Koshkonong, from what I hear, has a whole bunch of open water and some very sketchy, unsafe ice. So just waiting for that to clear out. The area up here around Black Hawk Island and where the rock dumps in is open, so you can launch there or in Fort Atkinson. I guess what I'm trying to say is the whole Rock River is open. Launches are open at Fort and Jefferson. And I heard about some fish up at the Jefferson Dam, but not the hot and heavy action we're about to come into here in spring. Up to Beaver Dam, same thing, just super sketchy ice. Don't really know if anybody's catching anything. Over to the Wisconsin River, the Prairie du Sac Dam has been a little slow, or I guess we'll call it spotty. I've heard about some fish coming out of there, but a lot of folks having a tougher time. But and up on Lake Wisconsin, ice very sketchy out there. Probably a bunch of open water up here on this north part of the lake, so that might be worth a look. Otherwise, up to Wisconsin Dells, I've heard some good fish coming out of the area below the dam up here, and some good walleye and sauger action up there. Noah had that great video we reposted this last week about using walleye flies. Check that out if you didn't get a chance to look at it. Very informative. Noah always does a great job up here on Castle Rock Lake. Folks fishing below the dam and getting a lot of good fish out of there, I've been hearing. I don't know the conditions of the ice on Castle Rock or Petenwell as far as the ice goes. There were folks out there earlier this week, but that ice is going to go real quick here. And now with all this heavy snow on top, I really have no idea what the conditions are. But of course, the Petenwell Dam, also a great spot for spring walleye and some spring fishing over there. I guess over to the Mississippi River, I heard about some folks fishing at Genoa in boats. The perch scene is, I don't want to call it over, but the last I heard, you had to have a airboat to get around out there. They were getting some fish up here and on Alaska, but that ice is also going pretty quickly, as I understand it. Still a lot of ice up north, so if you're heading up that way, that's a lot of ice up there still, and snow. Over to Milwaukee, all the tributaries are blown out and very high, cold water, dirty water, but that's moving some steelhead up into the systems, brown trout too in there, and it won't be long. Those fish should hold up there and until they spawn, probably for the next month, I would guess. So that's great opportunities to get out and catch some real impressive fish in some pretty local water. World-class steelhead fishery over there. I'm sure the harbors over here are all blown out and not fishable as well. I don't really know much about what's going on up the coast here. Green Bay, De Pere area over here is going to have some, De Pere has great walleyes back up there this time of year. Probably your best chance in the area to get, your hands on a 30-incher. But of course, that also gets a lot of pressure, and I'm not sure what the conditions are up there right now. Otherwise, I guess that pretty much does it for open water or warm water, we'll call it, fishing. But as far as trout go, the early season trout is still on. Of course, that's all catch and release, and no live bait can be used. But folks are doing well with a woolly bugger in deep holes. A deep, slow water is great with a woolly bugger, maybe a nymph trailed behind it or just a nymph. It's hard to ignore the magic of a pink squirrel this time of year. It's an amazing fly in the winter. And, if you're on the spin fishing side of things, a Rapala countdown, maybe a spoon or a tube jig run slowly through some of those same deep holes is going to be real effective. I was out on Gordon Creek, just southwest over here in Mount Horeb, Dalyville area. And when I was out there, it was warm Sunday, had a lot of melt coming in. So the water was fishable, but it was cold, and kind of the fish were in a negative mood. I caught 2 small fish, but the best is yet to come. As soon as we get this snow melt come off, then the stream temps stabilize, and we're going to have some of the best fishing of the year. So I guess that's it for the report. Post your comments, catches, and questions below. Also, if you have any other questions, feel free to call the shop at 241-4225 if you have any questions or we need any more details on what I discussed. Otherwise, good luck out there. Thanks for tuning in, and we will talk to you next week. Thanks so much.